ordinance of the Borough of Edgewater in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, providing for the refunding of certain general obligation local unit refunding bonds of the borough and appropriating an amount not exceeding $385,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $385,000 refunding bonds of the Borough of Edgewater for finances the cost thereof. Do I have an introduction?
So moved.
Discussion.
Right here. It's not on the one that's on the website.
Roll call.
Councilman Doran?
Yes.
Councilman Monty?
Yes.
Councilman Bedell?
Yes.
Councilman Jordan?
Yes.
Councilman Rose?
Yes.
742.
Ordinance 1467, 2012, an ordinance of the Borough of Edgewater in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, appropriating $742,996.50 for dredging of the Edgewater Marina in the Borough of Edgewater in the County of Bergen, New Jersey. Do I have an introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Ordinance of the Borough of Edgewater, County of Bergen, New Jersey, appropriating $742,996.50 for dredging of the Edgewater Marina in the Borough of Edgewater. Hereby passes its first reading and final public hearing will be held on February 21st at 7
It's gotta be
o'clock
bright.
here at 55 River Road.
Roll call, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yes.
Councilman Monty?
Yes.
Councilman Bedell?
Yes.
Councilman Jordan?
Yes.
Councilman Rose?
Yes.
Motion passes. 1466 will also be heard on the same night on February 21st at 7:05 p.m. in Municipal Building 55 River Road.
Councilman Doran, do you have a committee report?
No.
Okay. Councilman Monty, do you have a committee report?
No.
Councilman Vidal. Councilman Jordan?
I have a letter from Social Services. They had the reorg, and I was unfortunately not appraised of it as well. And they just, I'll just file the report. There's a lot of numbers in it, but they're very busy. We don't want to, it's too far to think of priorities, but they're pretty active. And I think that's all I'm including.
I don't know, I can't hear him.
Councilwoman Rose?
Yes, I do. I have a report from the building department. The total of all fees collected for December was $8,040. Total fees collected for the year was $104,262.68. This is not a lot of numbers in it, so I'm going to just try to read for the record.
Do we have a copy of that?
No.
Yeah. Do you want that? We don't have that.
No, she,
I have, okay.
she's the council liaison, she gets it.
That's great. No, no, sure.
Oh, you can. It's a good thing.
Is that it, Nita?
That's it.
Good day.
Do I have an approval for the resolutions? Do I have an introduction?
Introduce it.
I'll second it.
Councilman Jordan, second by Councilman Rose. Good day. Councilman Doran?
Yes.
Councilman Monty? Councilman Bedell?
Yes.
Councilman Jordan?
Yes.
Councilman Rose?
Yes.
All the resolutions passed.
Whatever stipulates.
All right, old business?
I have a letter here. We all get this letter from Bob Christensen.
Yes, I saw one today. Was that,
Yes.
today? Did we get that today? Or?
Yes. Greg, have we scheduled Karen Gregory to come in before us on the zoning things that he's requesting?
I had called her earlier this week to inquire her availability for the February 6th work session. She already has another commitment for that evening. So perhaps we can schedule for the following meeting, which would be a regular session, unless you want to wait for another work session.
Well, I don't think we want to wait because the planning board is actually having to cancel meetings because everything is going before they're granting variances that are not necessarily in compliance with what our zoning was for that fourth district. And our zoning is out of step with what needs to be developed there and what has been approved by the Board of Adjustment. And this is council's duty to examine those zonings. And I think we've asked Mrs. Gregory before to please let us know what she has in mind. We need to make adjustments there. And I'd rather do it sooner than later because there are more applications coming. It's a rezoning analysis, and I believe we're a little late in doing it.
All right, so we'll look to bring Councilman Gregory into the next work session? if possible.
Yes, I think, if she, or we have a special meeting if she can.
The next work session will be March 5th.
David?
Who would be looking at the regulations with respect to parking for businesses or resident condos, et cetera? Is it the planning board or board of adjustment?
I would think the planning board?
Planning board.
So maybe we could ask her if she could update what's happening, because there's people really examining that. It's time to where those parking spaces are never used, you know, like the commons, et cetera. And maybe we're not using the land property.
Could you speak up, sir?
I'm sorry?
Could you just go through what you just said again?
Yeah, they're re-examining the parking regulations, especially for large complexes, because they've set aside so much space for parking that is never used. I see it every day since then.
Where's specific?
So instead of, for example, like the commons, do they need every spot in there?
Christmas.
Is it ever filled?
Christmas,
Sometimes.
holidays,
Holiday times it is.
totally.
Yeah, I'd have to see it, but
Because you don't shop there.
I don't know if it applies to other places, but they definitely, in addition to that, they're doing some landscaping to it. So that it has not just asphalt, miles and miles of asphalt. So I'd like to see if she could give us an update on that, if she knows other places. They're doing it, you know.
Well, there are state regulations on how much parking is required per square footage.
I understand that.
Plus, there's regulations on extra, and I think those of those
Places have less
were
than that.
built to accommodate the proper amount under state regulations for parking.
Well,
So,
that's a good question. Because I see lots that are gigantic, if you go to some of the shopping malls. And I know the ones I'm looking at, they're that for some are, but not all. Very close.
but what would you do if you cut it below the state regulations?
Oh, we have to
It's
go-
very successful, we have no overspill parking anywhere for people to use.
You can't hook up.
Oh, yes.
I'm just saying that we should look at it. It's a big black.
Well, that could be part of
Can't
it.
see, has no shade. Yeah, I think we might be able to.
We might be able to get some more landscaping, yes.
Maybe we don't need some.
Anybody else of their old business? I'd like to appoint Tara Murphy to the library board. It's a 5-year term. And I'd like to reappoint Margaret Ferry to the Board of Assistants. I need the council consent for that. Do I have an introduction?
I'll introduce her.
Councilman Jordan?
Yes.
Councilman Monti?
Yes.
Councilman Mandel?
Yes.
Councilman Jordan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rose?
Yes.
Motion passes.
At the planning board, the shade tree and the rent leveling, which I'll have appointments by the next meeting or work session. New business? Administrative reports.
Yes, Mayor, very briefly, the 2012 budget is upon us, and what we started the last couple of years is scheduling meetings with department heads, and it's been successful with the full governing body in attendance, so we'd like to continue with that. The question becomes, would you care to schedule that during the next work session, which would be February 6th, or do you care to do something in the alternative? I just need some direction
the February 6th meeting, we have a decent agenda today.
Yeah.
Yes, you already do. You have the grants coordinator, and you have the tax assessor.
Okay, so should we look for another date? Does anybody have a date they prefer?
Well, everybody pretty much did this.
I can make it any time, so. Want to throw something out there, Greg? We'll see if it works for everybody.
Greg, are you going to schedule them at varying times the way we've done in the past?
Yes, yeah, I mean, we started early. We started around 6 p.m. or so, 5 p.m. or so. Had some sandwiches and had the department heads come in for 15, 20 minutes. And it's, possible to accomplish that in one evening. I don't have a particular date in hand, and I don't know if everyone has their schedules in front of them, so.
Okay, so we can be in contact the next day or so?
Yeah, I'll come up with some dates, and we'll see what the consensus is. Also, the county health services contract, we approved it at the last meeting. We deferred on the animal control service end because we had a private entity by the name of Bergen County Animal Enforcement submit a proposal. The amount is significantly less than the county, and this is why I held up. And I spoke with the county about it as well. And of course, they're advocating their service that they performed loyally over the last few years that they've been part of Edgewater, even longer, of course. So I spoke with Patty Dalton from the health department, who works closely with the animal control officer. So what I'm going to do is have her meet with this company and go over a list of questions and see if her questions are satisfied. And based on that, we'll make a recommendation one way or the other. The county still providing the service to us, so this is just for the yearly contract. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And also, I had brought this up once before prior that our contract with New York Waterway expires in March. We have been working with the Borough Attorney's Office in preparing the new qualification request. Not realizing our schedule of meetings, I would like to get the authorization to bid sooner rather than later. So if we can have a motion presented this evening for authorization to bid for a ferry service. Traditionally, it's a 5-year agreement, which would be effective March of 2012. So in order for us to solicit the quotations from vendors, we would need the governing body's authorization. So Mayor, if we can have a motion, we can get moving on that.
So, do I have a motion to authorize the bid for the ferry service?
I'll move it.
Second.
Introduced by Councilwoman Rose, seconded by Councilwoman Vidal.
Roll call.
Councilman Doran?
Yes.
Councilman Monty?
Yes.
Councilman Vidal?
Yes.
Councilman Jordan?
Yes.
Councilman Rose?
Yes.
And that's all I have.
Borough Clerk,
9 a.m.
do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Wait a second.
Second.
Councilman Vidal, seconded by Councilwoman Rose. Councilman Doran? Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Councilman Monty?
Yes.
Councilman Vidal?
Yes.
Councilman Jordan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rose?
Yes.
Motion